What's up, Shadow Priest buddies? This is video number 3 in the Next Level Shadow series, Movement and Mechanics. We've talked about CD usage, tight GCDs, and never missing a void bolt, and those are things that will certainly help you build a solid rotational foundation. What truly takes players to the next level as a mythic top performer is this next video's topic. Something rarely talked about: how to sustain DPS while moving and doing mechanics at the same time. When your logs in Heroic are great, but you fall short in Mythic, this is where you should focus your efforts. In a perfect world, you'll never have to move. But in a realistic environment, you need to move on your terms, ideally with only a Void Bolt. Do that and it won't cost you any DPS. Moving on Void Bolt every third GCD is called stutter stepping. Power Word Shield and Pain are your next best options, but these are going to cost you some DPS. Ideally, proactively avoid that situation as much as you can, and you'll see gains by always moving on a Void Bolt. And what would a next level Shadow video be if I didn't also cover neat tricks for using Power Word Shield and Dispersion to sustain Void Form stacks and make the best out of crappy situations? And don't forget the foundation lesson. Tight GCDs, remember that one? This also applies during movement. Make sure your GCDs are always spinning. The best way to stick to the Void Bolt stutter step formula without any DPS loss is to always be mindful of your position and think as far ahead as possible. Alright, so what do I mean by that? If we look right here. Briny Bubble's coming up, and you can see me as I was doing before. I'm going to back this up some. So I started back here. I actually just intuitively know that Briny Bubbles are coming out soon, but even if you don't memorize the fight, watch the boss timer. So watch me stutter step as I go all the way across the room and how long it actually takes to do that. So there's the Briny Bubble. And if you notice, I'm slowly getting closer and closer to the boss, and you're going to see why in a second. Boom, look at the Brinies. So I didn't get it, which is nice. If I had gotten it, we bring it over here. So that's a short distance for me to run, and I'm not gonna lose all the damage. These two guys here have all kinds of obstacles. Watch what happens when the upsurges spawn. Now they have to get all the way to there and dodge all of the mechanics that are gonna spawn in front of them. That's tough. I have so many times been cut off here and got upsurged and didn't make it to position. The shorter distance you have, the better. So watch it here again. I didn't lose a lot of DPS. I got in position ahead of time. I didn't get Briny Bubble, but if I did get it, the other thing is I would use Dispersion if it was available, and hang on to that Void Form through the entire duration of that bubble, and keep the stacks rolling and my dots rolling, at least while I'm sitting in the bubble. The next thing is, Dispersion is just great to hold on to stacks for a long period of time. So another great place to use Dispersion is the Beckon mechanic on Ashara, and it was so important I made a weak aura for this, and you kind of should have a weak aura for it anyway. So see, here is my weak aura, and I kind of knew this was coming ahead of time. Like if I back up some, Alright, you see this timer? Beckon's coming. I'm gonna watch for Beckon. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna get targeted. So I'm keeping an eye out. Is my position in a decent spot? And I need to know that I'm gonna move over here. This is my spot, if I get it. And I do have Dispersion up, and that's kind of my plan. If I get it, that I'm gonna pop it right away. I'm gonna use it for movement speed, and then I'm gonna use it to hold that Void Form through its entire duration. So here's the Beckon. That means it's on me, right? I dispersed right away. This helped me beeline for the wall. And look, I'm just sitting at 35 stacks this entire time. I've got dots rolling on the boss. I got some on the ad. I weren't able to refresh here, but I got dots rolling, so at least it's not a complete loss. It's a shitty situation, but at least I'm not losing everything. And the second that wore off, sort of my dispersion, and I'm able to watch this, I'll get a couple more stacks of Void Form over that. I mean, not too bad. Again, shit's gonna happen. Make the best of it. Dispersion definitely helps you do that. Another good place to like use like Dispersion and like Power Word Shield. Power Word Shield is just great. You can see I'm spamming it during the intermission. There's nothing else to do. I can't DPS. But what I can do is I can shield myself. I can shield this guy over here, they're gonna Soak Moon. I can shield this guy over here, that's Nipple. And it helps the healers out a shit ton. The other thing is, I'm gaining Insanity. Like, just watch this. So it's a win-win-win to do stuff like this. Again, I'm trying to get my globals to spin, at least I'm doing something. And with Shadow, Insanity, it's obviously good to, like, get Insanity when you can. And I just keep spamming it, as long as I have mana. I mean, I do and I'm watching for it to come up again, and I'll spam it as soon as I can. So another good place for Power Word Shield is like Phase 1 Ashara. So it's very common to need to stop DPS. And if you notice, these bosses are going to die soon, but we haven't gotten the orbs. The orbs haven't spawned yet. We need one more set of orbs. And my concern with this particular pull is Cyranus is way too far ahead. Not way ahead, but too far ahead of Aethanel. So our raid leader calls for stop DPS, obviously. And what I do here is I refresh one dot on Cyranus to try to help balance them, and then I'm going to spam Power Word Shield the entire time. So there's the stop DPS call you can see, and now I'm shielding everyone. So the boss health, look, it's slightly better because I had at least one dot on him. I didn't want to put too much on him because I don't want them to die before these orbs are finished. It's kind of part of the fight. But at least I was able to do something valuable. And they almost died at the exact same time, so it was perfect. So again, you gotta think about downtime, LOS, if you're CC'd, like a Beckon or something like that, even like PvP. Use Dispersion, use Power Word Shield to pause your Void Form and get some Insanity going for maintaining Void Form, even if you can't DPS. And that kind of what sets like an old school Legion Shadow Priest from like a BFA Shadow Priest. Knowing these things, it's a little bit mattered a lot more back in Legion as it does now, but it makes a difference. So here's a list of things that you want to focus on when it comes to mechanics and when it comes to movement. The only thing that I didn't put on the list that kind of should be there is double check your key bindings are really good for moving. Like comfortable keys that you can hit while strafing. Spend some time on it, hit some dummies. I know I had to do that myself with Void Bolts when I re-rolled into Shadow a long time ago. Other than that, stick with this list. and you should see improvements, or at least I hope you do. If you are still struggling, feel free to give me comments. I will help you out wherever I can. And as always, thanks for watching, and I hope it taught you something new.